So this is what they keep doing each time. They keep adding information. Because the first time they introduced past simple and past continuous is actually in elementary, past simple and elementary, but I think past continuous may be elementary B or pre-intermediate A. So each time they add a new thing, and so on. So last lesson we talked about how to use past simple, past continuous. Sometimes in some rare examples, you have the option of using both without any problem. So sometimes you can use both of them, either one of them, I mean, in some examples, like the one we did last time. I remember this one, the one that Nuha did when we were playing the last piece of music, or when we played the last piece of music. In this context, both are okay. I noticed my mom and dad in the audience, they looked proud. They both looked very proud. So here you can do it either way. So this was last lesson. Let me just take a very quick look at the vocab. I think in the vocab, the only new word was encore, which is a sort of a bonus performance. These are like the last couple or maybe 3 songs if the singer is in a good mood and feeling generous. So these are like the additions, the additional songs which are not included in the program, not included in the tour or performance or in the concert. So an encore was, I think, the only new words we talked about last time. All right, so in this lesson, we are going to continue with our theme of maybe not so much as tourism, but maybe adventure this time, but maybe it's a bit related. Anyways, so here we'll talk about adjectives of character, and we'll talk about the past perfect. I'm not sure, but I think the past perfect is probably it's only the second time since pre-intermediate B, because in pre-intermediate A, I know there is no past perfect. So it's probably in intermediate B, pre-intermediate B is the first. I'm not sure, maybe now you can remember, but I think past perfect is usually included probably in pre-intermediate B grammar. Okay, but it's not a very commonly used tense. It's more useful for narration when you're telling a story. So it's commonly used if you're telling a story and maybe you have 2 events in the past. So we'll get to it in a second. But let's start with some vocabulary. So here we'll talk about vocabulary. We'll talk about adjectives of character. So here we're describing the personality of people using these words. Okay, so let's, okay, Brian, you can start off. You can read the first, let's say the first half of these adjectives. And if we see any new ones, we'll talk about them, but I think they're not new to any of you. But go ahead, you can start, Brian.
Okay. Adventurous. Talented. Sensible, sensitive, brave, determined, reliable, independent.
Okay.
Organized, stubborn, ambitious, confident.
Okay.
Practical.
Okay, go ahead.
Should I complete it or?
Yeah, just complete. You can complete because okay. I thought that there might be something new, but I think both of you know these words. Okay, go ahead.
Generous, mean, responsible, aggressive, optimistic.
Can you try again with this word?
Optimistic.
Okay.
Pessimistic, I think. This word I don't know what does it mean.
What about the one before last?
حتى هي.
All right. Okay. Now, would you like to? Go ahead. What do you think?
I think optimistic means just like.
Don't do it in Arabic. Do it in English.
Yeah. Something majestic, I think.
Not exactly. No. What about pessimistic? Also new.
Okay. Yeah, it's the first time.
All right. All right. Okay, Noha, how would you explain an optimistic person? Let's say you're talking about Ahmed or Mohammed or Michael or someone, and this person you're talking about is an optimistic person. So how would you describe him? How is his behavior? How does he see life?
He usually feels cheerful or hopeful.
Hopeful is a very good synonym, yes.
Yeah, hopeful person. And pessimistic, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but I think it's so. Pessimistic means lack of hope.
Okay,
Or
so you mean that a person who is pessimistic is
the
hopeless?
opposite, yeah.
The opposite of optimism.
Opposite of optimistic.
Okay.
Hopeless, yeah.
I agree with
One
you.
is negative and one is positive. Yeah.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. But the positive negative thing, I'm not so sure. Maybe I disagree a little bit because I don't like optimistic people, to be honest. Not that I don't like them, but I think they're not very realistic sometimes. And this causes them lots of, by the way, they suffer a lot because of this, right? So, so I agree with your definitions. I especially liked how you used hopeful and hopeless. I think they're excellent synonyms. But what about, there's something I think maybe if you can tell us a little more about it. What about the future? How do both of these people, the optimistic Ahmed and the pessimistic Michael, how do they see the future? In which way do you think?
For optimistic one, he has usually positive expectations for the future.
Right. Correct.
And pessimistic has negative one. Usually look to the dark side.
Right.
Or the empty part of the glass.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Okay. So if you had to use an Arabic word for each one of these two words, Ibrahim, what would you say optimistic is in Arabic, and what do you think pessimistic is?
Pessimistic, I think, متشائم.
Correct.
Yes.
صح. Right.
And optimistic, متفائل.
Exactly right. Yes, this is it. Right. So there you go. So a very nice explanation from Naha. Okay. So I think the rest of the verbs, the rest of the adjectives, sorry. Okay, Ibrahim, what do you think the difference is between someone who's sensible and someone who's sensitive? Or is it just the same thing?
I think sensible, it means you can sense something. Something is gonna happen, I think. Like
Okay, you got the very first part about the origin of the word. It's related to sense. You're right about this.
Sensitive.
It's also related to sense, right?
When you say, for example, he's a sensitive person. His feelings might hurt very quickly.
Okay, so it's easy to hurt his feelings if you're talking about someone sensitive. Okay, so you got sensitive right. This is exactly what it means.
But sensible, for example, مش عارف, I don't think it's right, but for example, when you sense something, you can say sensible, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure about this.
Okay, how would you describe a sensible person, Naha? If you have a relative or maybe a family member or a friend who's sensible, how would you describe them?
I think it means that person is more objective or rational.
I like that. So a person who's sensible, Ibrahim, is a person who's objective and a person who's rational. Do you know what we mean by rational, Ibrahim? When we say Ahmed is a rational man, so he uses his head. He thinks rather than he feels. He's not an emotional person, right?
Yeah.
So this is someone
more
rational. Logical, right? Someone who's logical, who's like you said, objective. What do we mean by objective, Ibrahim? What do you think?
He has from A to B.
Here we're not using objective like as a noun, so we don't mean objective like a goal. We mean objective here like an adjective. So an objective person is someone who doesn't take things personally, who only relies on the facts. So you can say maybe scientists or maybe physicists, people who work in science, they try to be as objective as they can. We can't be, of course, 100% objective because we are humans, right? We're not machines. We're not laptops. But some scientific work, you have to really be objective. You just have to measure and talk about the data you have in front of you, then do the experiment again and reach a scientific conclusion. So objectivity is important for science. So, so if you wanted to use one word in Arabic to describe sensible, how would you describe a sensible person, Brian?
I don't know.
All right, so I'll take you to the definitions here. They're quite nice and simple. I think they'll help us. So you can see exactly what it means. Okay. Can you read sensible here? At the bottom left.
Okay.
People can?
People have sensible. People can make good decisions based on reasons and facts.
Yeah. So a sensible person is a rational person, right? He uses he uses rationality. He's not someone who uses he's not someone who's emotional or quick-tempered. This is the idea. All right. Do you know stubborn? Have you heard of the word stubborn? Yeah, I think this is something we're good at as a Libyan people. We're very stubborn, so we have that a lot. So people who don't change their ideas easily. Okay, so I think the rest of the words you probably get what they mean. All right, so we're going to use, of course, some of these maybe to describe our friends in this question. It says, think of 4 people you know, choose adjectives to describe them, and then tell us why you chose those adjectives, okay? I think I'm going to start with an example here. I have a friend, and I think he's a very sensible person. And I think this is a true example, at least for me. This friend is usually someone I can rely on, especially if there's a problem, and this problem is something that is personal, maybe, and it causes this kind of problem usually causes a person to become emotional, or maybe angry, or maybe upset, and maybe this, of course, this is not very good to act on if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling a little emotional about an issue or a problem. Maybe you shouldn't make a decision. So you need someone who's cool and calm and collected, someone who's rational, sensible to rely on, right? You need to take their advice, ask them, what should I do? Should I react? Should I do this? Should I do that? And usually this sensible person will give you the best advice at the moment. So I think for me, sensible is probably one of the most important characters or features to have in someone close to you. And I think I'm lucky. I have a friend who's like this. So this is an example I can think of someone who's rational or sensible. Now, what about you, Brahim? You don't have to think of 4. You don't have to think of 4 people, but you can think of maybe, let's say, 2 or 3 people. You can think of 2 or 3 people in your life, or maybe from your family, who these adjectives describe. Okay, so go ahead, tell us a little bit about 2 people you know who you can describe using these adjectives.
Okay, for example, like you said, my friend Suleiman is sensitive person.
Sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay. Why would you describe him as sensitive?
When we make fun of him, he doesn't like it.
Okay, so he gets upset easily, he gets hurt easily, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
وانت تظبط, you know how we make fun of people.
Yeah.
And my friend Amir is optimistic.
So he's a hopeful person. He always thinks good things are going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, these are good examples. What else can you tell us about the optimistic person? I'm interested.
How?
Tell me a little bit more about the optimistic person.
You always rely on him.
Can you rely on an optimistic person?
I think, yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe
because this is the first one
maybe he has. You mean maybe he has other good qualities, not just optimistic, right? Is that what you're trying to say? Maybe he's a friend you can trust. Brian, are you there?
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I'm saying that maybe the reason you rely on him is not his optimism. Maybe he has another quality, another character, that something else that you like in him that makes you rely on him. Or
reliable.
Maybe he's reliable. If you have a reliable friend, if Amir is reliable, then yes, you can rely on Amir.
Well, he's reliable and optimistic.
Okay, then it makes sense, yes, because the reliable part maybe is the thing that you seek, right? And you want to rely on him, or you want to depend on him to do something, to help you with something. All right, okay. Noha, what do you think? Here, first of all, I'd like you to talk about two people you know, friends, family members, anybody, and you can use these adjectives to describe them. And my second question is, do you think someone who's optimistic, do you think someone who's optimistic is good to rely on or not? Is someone you should rely on or not, in your opinion?
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to tell you about my sister-in-law. She is a very reliable person and confident and responsible, because whenever I need her to do something, I'm sure that she will do it very neatly and very well. And for the second question, for the optimistic person, I think, yeah, he can be reliable, because why shouldn't he? Why shouldn't he be reliable? Because he's optimistic.
And I was thinking of a particular example. Let's say you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And maybe this problem needs a hard kind of solution, right? So maybe you have a boss at work who's not very good. Maybe the job is not very good, right? So something like these common professional problems, or maybe in the same thing if you're studying, if you have a difficult doctor, or maybe you're doing maybe you're majoring in something you're not good at. Maybe you're good at engineering and you're trying medicine, or maybe you're good at medicine and you're trying engineering. So an optimistic, I'm imagining an optimistic person would probably say something like this: everything will be all right, don't worry, just keep on, things will turn out well, you just have to believe in yourself, you just have to try a little harder and everything will be all right. You know, that's this kind of tone, this kind of supporting. I'm not saying it's not supporting, I'm saying it's maybe it won't happen. Maybe the things he's telling you or she's telling you, because this person is too optimistic or over optimistic, he keeps giving you promises that he cannot keep. When he says things will be a little better, maybe things will go worse with your boss or with your education, right? You get the idea.
Okay, yeah, I get the idea, but it depends, actually. It depends, like what you said, if this optimistic person, over optimistic, or what's more, she or he, more irrational.
This is exactly my issue. Yes, go on, continue, Nuha. Yes.
Yeah, but not all the optimistic people are like this. There's I think the problem here is not for the optimistic adjective, for the skills of the person itself, himself. If he lack the skill or the ability to make a good decision at the right time, so if he optimistic or not, he will be reliable. But and especially if he is optimistic, he will encourage you and use that optimistic adjective to motivate you to make a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
But if he is a rational person, yeah, for sure he won't be reliable. Yeah.
But for me, I always think of optimistic people in general. The adjective optimistic, for me, it automatically equals irrational. You get the idea? I don't think optimistic people are very realistic. This is my issue. They're not very rational, because they
not all of them.
Not all of them. This is what Noha was saying.
Not
exactly.
all of them.
Not all of them.
Because there's a lot of, we need an optimistic people in our life, because for me, I'm very rational.
Okay.
So if I don't have people such those people in my life, I think I'll see everything in dark way.
You'll become a pessimistic.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with that? If everything is bad around you, I mean, this is the realistic thing to do, right?
No, hope is really important to motivate you to it's
hobbies.
Kind
did
of
you say hobbies?
Energize you.
Did you say hobbies? I thought you said hobbies are important. Is that what you said?
No, hope.
Hope. Yes.
Yeah, hope.
Correct.
It's really important.
Yeah.
To energize you to continue your life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree. I think that's true. But for me, I think I have a strange type of pessimism. I'm usually optimistic about myself, just myself, but pessimistic about everything else. So I'm not hopeless, but I'm not. I don't think I'm optimistic, or maybe I like to make fun of optimistic people. But I do agree with you, Noha, completely, that we do need optimistic people in our lives, because they're the ones who sort of give us, go ahead, keep working, do it a little better, try again, don't quit, don't stop, keep training, keep trying, keep studying, keep, this kind of. So I completely agree with you about the importance of hope. Okay, so these are some nice adjectives, I think, and they're quite detailed and subtle. They're not sort of good bad, they're interesting. So okay, so we talked a little bit about them. We'll probably use them in the listening here, because it looks like we have an interesting listening track between two producers. But before we do that, yes, hi, Brian. We can hear you. اسمع فيك يا إبراهيم.
Can you repeat what you said?
Yes, I was saying, what's the last thing? What's the last thing you heard? What's the last part you got? إبراهيم؟
آخر حاجة سمعتها بلا نهى بكل صراحة.
آخر حاجة شنو هي؟
قبل نهى كانت تتكلم.
Ah, okay. I think you have a bad
But
connection today, maybe.
connection.
Yeah. No,
حالة.
she was just telling me about the importance of having optimistic, positive, and
Yeah.
hopeful people around you. So I said I sort of agree with her. I think that's very important to have hopeful people. And then I just added that for me, maybe I have a maybe I'm not pessimistic, but I like black comedy a lot. So maybe I try to make fun of problems, and in this way, and one of the people I like to make fun of are optimistic people. I enjoy making fun of them because usually everything is bad around them, and they have this childish or positive.
Yeah, هلبة. Yeah.
For me, I always make fun of these people. But again, I appreciate what they're doing because we need hope. If there's no hope, things become a bit scary, I guess. So we talked a little bit about that. And then we were just moving to the second exercise here. And we have some general questions. And I think now they'll switch to sort of more adventurous things rather than the stuff we were talking about. And after that, of course, we have listening. But let's start with these general questions. The first one, it says, what's the most adventurous thing you've ever done? Let's see, what do you think now? What for you, the most adventurous experience or the most adventurous thing you've ever done in your life? What would that be?
I've never done such a thing.
You've never done anything adventurous?
No. Honestly, no.
Okay. What about you, Ibrahim? What would you call something adventurous?
I'm a scuba diver, so.
Oh yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's also very adventurous.
Yeah.
And did you get like full training and full registration and license and everything?
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. It's a little dangerous, right? If you don't know what you're doing.
It's not little, it's large. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. And how deep? Yeah, it's risky, yes. And how deep did you go? Your deepest dive?
I think 50 meters.
50?
I don't want to risk 15 now. No, not 50. Yeah. I don't want to risk anything because the more you go down, the more fish you can see. So.
Yeah. And also I've heard that if you go up too quickly, that will cause you problems.
Yeah.
They call them
lung,
the bends, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Decompression disease, I think.
Decompression sickness, yeah.
Yeah. Because I've heard many people died from that, especially if they go deeper than 15, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
They told us it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
the speed limit when you go to the surface. It's 9 meters per minute.
9 meters per minute.
Yeah, that's the fastest thing you must. You don't need to
resurface. When you resurface, you mean. So you shouldn't go any faster than that. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
All right, that's very interesting. So we have an adventurer with us. That's good. And then it says, are there any famous adventurers from your country? I think maybe this is a harder question to answer.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
I don't know any adventurers, but there is one guy, but I think he's a traveler more than an adventurer.
Rahalis, I think.
Yeah, I don't know his name, but I sometimes see his photos from his profile.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think he's an adventurer? I think he's more of a traveler rather than an adventurer.
Yeah, traveler. I don't think he's an adventurer.
Me neither now. What do you think, Nah? Do you think we have any famous adventurers here from Libya? No, are you there?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I haven't heard anything about anyone, especially Libyan one.
Yeah, me neither. I think every politician here is an adventurer because of the mess they make in the country after they start. Maybe you can call our politicians adventurers, maybe.
Yes.
Or maybe you can call the Libyan nation. All of us are adventurers for letting them stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, but regular adventures, I agree with you. I can't think of any names either. Yeah. Okay. The third question, it also looks good. Look at the photos and the map. Why do you think the two men look so happy? Let's take a look at the photos and the map. So this is the photo. I don't think this photo, the one below. All right, they're talking about this one. All right, so these are the two men, and this is the map. All right. So why do you think they look so happy?
Because they finished their goal.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like they finished their. Do you think it's a walk or a marathon, maybe, or some kind of tracking? What is it? What do you think? They have backpacks on.
Yeah, they're travelers.
They're travelers.
Yeah, it looks like they're travelers, but do you think they're regular travelers?
I think they have experience.
Yeah, but how do you think they traveled from the start to the finish?
By foot.
On foot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it looks like they did it on foot. This is what I think too.
Yeah.
And they look very happy. It's true, like the question said. So I think they're proud of their achievement. So maybe they did it on foot. That's true. All right. So maybe maybe you can learn more about these two people, these two men. Let's find out. So before we listen, check out these words and phrases. And let's see. Okay, let's check these words. I don't think any of them are new, but so we have a jungle, an expedition, insect, repellent, an ant, a wasp, a scorpion, a sting, a marathon. What about expedition? Maybe this word is the new one. I'm not sure if you know it.
Expedition, synonym to trip or adventure.
Correct.
Or expenditure. No, not expenditure. There is another word.
Okay.
I can't recall it now. It also started with EX, but
you mean like exploration? To explore something?
No, I forget it. No.
I
try to. But expedition, it's journey or trip or.
You're right. I agree with you. It's like a trip, a journey, maybe an adventure, maybe.
Yeah.
But what's the difference between an expedition and I mean, how can I say I'm going on an expedition? How can I put it in a sentence?
It's a trip in the jungle.
A trip in the jungle, maybe we can call a trip in the jungle. You mean expedition? But if I buy a ticket to Madrid, is this an expedition?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure, but
all right, I think you're right. Usually expedition has there's more
adventurous
experience,
texture or something.
Right. Yes, and also expedition, I think usually it's a little formal because they used to call the first people who discovered, or the first people who reached the North Pole and the South Pole. When you read about these people, these explorers, of course this is old. This is maybe 100 and 150 years ago. But when these people first went to the North Pole and the South Pole, usually they're part of an expedition. So it's like a group together, and they go and discover this new place, or they do this thing for the first time. So like you said, it's a journey, but maybe with exploration and maybe with adventure and also danger and risk, and you need to be skilled. I think all of this can be included in the meaning. So it's okay, so I think it's clear. The rest, Ibrahim, what about insect repellent? What do you think this means? I'm sure you know insect, but repellent. No, how would you describe this word? How would you explain it? An insect repellent.
I'm not sure that I know this, but I'll try to guess. Insect repellent, maybe the diseases that comes from
insects, you mean?
From insects, yeah, like malaria, like I don't know.
Okay, I'll help a little bit. So, do you know when they say, for example, when something attracts, the opposite is repel? Like a magnet, right?
Yeah. Allah Muhammad Rasulullah. Biff Buff.
Yes, you're right, yes. An insect repellent is something to keep away insects, because repellent...
Yeah, exactly, yes.
The word, it comes from the verb repel. Repel is the opposite verb of attract.
Anti-insect substances.
Right, exactly. That's exactly right. And the origin of the word is repel. Repel and attract. So it's like in physics, you have magnets. The North and the South Pole, they attract, but the North and the North, they repel.
Repel.
So this is the meaning. Repel, it means to push away, to stay away, to... So when you use it like this, repellent, it means something that will keep away insects.
Yes.
All right. The other insects, ant, wasp, scorpion, I think you know them.
Yes.
But sting, you also know it, and marathon, I think you also know it. So maybe these are the only two words which were sort of not really new, but okay. So now we know all the parts. Let's go to the listening, and let's listen to this conversation between two TV producers. We have Paul and Josie, and we will answer these questions. So let me find the listening track first, and then we can do the questions. So the intermediate tracks. Okay, which track is it? CD1, track 31. CD1, 31. Where did it disappear? CD1, 31. Okay. Okay.
Track 31.
Okay, before we listen, let's very quickly cover the questions, so at least we know what we're going to listen to. So the first question is asking, what is the first episode of Josie's new TV series about? So we want to find out what the TV series is about, or at least the first episode, maybe not the TV series itself, but we want to know what the first episode is about. Then number 2, what problems did Ed Strafford have on the journey? So Ed is one of the guys in the picture, in the photo. So we want to know what problems he faced. The third question, how did his friends and family know where he was? Okay, and what did he do when he got home? All right, so we have these 4 questions. Now we're going to listen to the conversation and let's find the answers. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right.
What are you working on at the moment, Josie?
I've been making a TV series called Modern Adventurers.
That sounds interesting.
Yes, it's fascinating. The first episode is about a man called Ed Stafford, who became the first person to walk the length of the River Amazon in 2010.
Wow, that sounds like hard work. How long did it take him?
About 2.5 years.
You're joking. Why didn't he go by boat?
Very funny. But that's the point of the series. Why do some people go on these crazy adventures? Just to be the first person to do something?
Good question. So, did this guy... what was his name again?
Ed Stafford.
Right. So, did Ed Stafford walk the Amazon on his own?
No, he set off with a friend called Luke Collier. They'd planned to do the whole walk together, but Luke went home after 68 days.
I'm not surprised. I wouldn't last 68 minutes.
No, me neither. Anyway, a Peruvian guide called Cho joined the expedition after Luke had gone back to the UK. Cho had planned to walk with Ed for only 5 days, but ended up staying with him until the end.
And what did they eat?
They mainly lived on rice and beans, which they bought in villages and carried with them, but they also went to parts of the forest that nobody had ever been to before. So they sometimes ran out of food and had to eat whatever they could find.
So did they just disappear into the jungle for 2.5 years?
No, not really. Every day Ed wrote his blog or uploaded a video of his journey onto his website, and of course he also read messages that people had sent him.
So how far did he walk in total?
Well, the River Amazon is about 4,000 miles long, but Ed calculated that he'd walked about 6,000 miles.
I hope he took some insect repellent.
Well, if he did, he didn't take enough. He says that during the trip he got 200,000 mosquito and ant bites.
Really? That's amazing.
Yes, and he also got 600 wasp stings and 12 scorpion stings.
Ouch! So what did he do when he'd finished the journey?
He flew back to England, had a rest, and then, a few weeks later, he ran 4 marathons in 27 hours.
Wow. This guy makes me feel exhausted just hearing about him.
Well, if you think he's extreme, the second programme is about another modern adventurer called Martin Strel. He was the first person to...
Okay, so Ibrahim, I think you missed most of the talk.
Yeah, lectures went back, so...
Yeah, I'll repeat it, but because there's another part of the question, I think, where we can listen again, okay? So don't worry, this means I'll have to repeat it anyways. All right, but let's see the answers first. Let's see Noah's answers, since you got the first part. What is this series about, or at least this first episode? No, what is it about?
About a man, his name was Ed Stafford, walked the Amazon River, tried to walk the Amazon River in 2018 or something. It took him 2 years and a half.
I see, okay. And what about number 2? What problems did he face on his journey?
I'm not sure that I heard it quite well. So I have heard something about wasp insects and scorpion and insect stings.
Okay.
And lack of food sometimes. They have to eat whatever they could have. And I think that's it, what I can't remember of it. But how did his friends and family know where he was? He was blogging.
Okay, so he was doing some blogging.
On daily basis. Yeah.
Okay.
Daily basis, yeah.
What about... Go ahead.
Yeah, what did he do when he got home? And he ran for a marathon.
4 marathons, I think.
1 marathon or 4 marathons?
4 marathons.
In 72 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's check the second group of the questions. This way we can check the new questions and we can confirm the answers for the first part. Now, here it says, work in pairs. Can you remember what Paul and Josie said about these numbers and people? So these are some of the numbers mentioned in the chat we just listened to. Can you remember what they refer to?
2010, the day that he has been starting. That he has been,
So you mean
sitting off.
Yeah, the starting year. Is this what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 years and a half. how long he has taken to finish the adventure. Okay. 68 days, something about his friend.
Okay.
And the others 72 hours, 27 hours, something about the last part of the, but I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe 6 miles, 6,000 miles about marathon.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, I have a better idea. Let me repeat it again.
Okay.
And also I'll come back in a second, but I'm going to leave the recording, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so you can check your answers for this one, and also you can confirm the ones in the first part here, the ones that you just answered. Okay, so you can try to do both of them. So I'll leave it here, and let's listen again. Tell me if the sound disconnects or not.
Track 31. What are you working on at the moment, Josie?
Yeah.
I've been making a TV series called Modern Adventure.
Did it disconnect when I muted, or it continued normally?
Normally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's repeat it, and I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
31. What are you working on at the moment, Josie?
I've been making a TV series called Modern Adventurers.
That sounds interesting.
Yes, it's fascinating. The first episode is about a man called Ed Stafford, who became the first person to walk the length of the River Amazon in 2010.
Wow, that sounds like hard work. How long did it take him?
About 2.5 years.
You're joking. Why didn't he go by boat?
Very funny. But that's the point of the series. Why do some people go on these crazy adventures? Just to be the first person to do something?
Good question. So, did this guy... what was his name again?
Ed Stafford.
Right. So, did Ed Stafford walk the Amazon on his own?
No, he set off with a friend called Luke Collier. They'd planned to do the whole walk together, but Luke went home after 68 days.
I'm not surprised. I wouldn't last 68 minutes.
No, me neither. Anyway, a Peruvian guide called Cho joined the expedition after Luke had gone back to the UK. Cho had planned to walk with Ed for only 5 days, but ended up staying with him until the end.
And what did they eat?
They mainly lived on rice and beans, which they bought in villages and carried with them, but they also went to parts of the forest that nobody had ever been to before, so they sometimes ran out of food and had to eat whatever they could find.
So did they just disappear into the jungle for 2.5 years?
No, not really. Every day Ed wrote his blog or uploaded a video of his journey onto his website, and of course he also read messages that people had sent him.
So how far did he walk in total?
Well, the River Amazon is about 4,000 miles long, but Ed calculated that he'd walked about 6,000 miles.
I hope he took some insect repellent.
Well, if he did, he didn't take enough. He says that during the trip he got 200,000 mosquito and ant bites.
Really? That's amazing.
Yes, and he also got 600 wasp stings and 12 scorpion stings.
Ouch! So what did he do when he'd finished the journey?
He flew back to England, had a rest, and then, a few weeks later, he ran 4 marathons in 27 hours.
Wow, this guy makes me feel exhausted just hearing about him.
Well, if you think he's extreme, the second programme is about another modern adventurer called Martin Strel. He was the first person to...
صاحبه باعه 200,000 عطر تقريبا. سنة ونص مش جداز. الأمازون. ستمية لسعة تبور و12 لتر شو 600 6100 مشاهد.
Okay, so I think you got the chance to check your answers now.
Yeah.
All right, so how did his, the first part, okay, what problems did Ed face? I think this is one of the things we didn't get last time in the first set of questions. Ibrahim, what do you think? Ibrahim, are you there? Can you see question B, the number 3B?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you hear the recording now?
Yeah.
Okay, so what problems did Ed Stafford have on the journey?
I don't know. ما ركزتش فيها. I wasn't paying attention in that part.
Okay. What about what did he do when he got home? Did you get that part?
He went. He slept and then went to for a marathon.
He went. Is it 1 marathon or is it 4 marathons?
4, I think, in 22/7.
In how many hours?
72 hours.
27.
In 27.
27, أيوة. 27, أيوة.
All right. Do you know how long a marathon is?
Nope.
No. Do you know how long one marathon is?
1 marathon. He didn't mention.
Yeah, they didn't mention. No, they didn't. But it's a fixed number. All marathons are the same.
3 hours.
It's not by a time. They calculate them by kilometer. The distance. It's a distance.
5 kilometers.
How long?
5 kilometers.
Okay. What do you think, Brain? Can you give a number? Can you guess?
10.
10. Okay. A marathon is actually 42 kilometers. 42.
Oh.
So
yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, so this guy, he did 4 by 42. So that means 168 kilometers in 27 hours.
4 by
42. Because he multiply it by 42. So you 42 kilometers by 4.
Marathon 4 times.
4 times. So if you want to calculate that in kilometers, the total is 168 kilometers, and he did all of this in 27 hours.
Yeah, he obsessed with that picture.
He's crazy. Yes, this is a person who's not a normal person.
Yeah,
yeah, he also walked the length of the Amazon, so this is nothing for him, right? This is
yeah, لا خلاص متعودة.
He walked actually more than the length of Amazon.
Exactly, that's true.
6,000.
He did. Yeah. 6,000 miles.
2,000 more.
Yeah, almost 2,000 more. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, that's amazing, I think. All right, so this means actually, if we want to check these numbers again, so 2010 is the starting date when he started his journey or expedition. Yeah.
Yes.
2 years and a half. You mentioned that this is how long it took for him to finish.
Yeah.
What about Luke Collier? This person. Who's this person?
His friend. His
friend who started with him.
Yeah. Did he finish with it?
No.
He
stayed for 68 days.
Yeah, he stayed with,
Yeah, that's right. And then he left. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about the other guy, Cho, this person?
I'm not sure that I heard it correctly, but I think I tried to read it in the
script.
He was the guide.
Correct. Yeah. Where was he from? The guide.
He local.
He was a local.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it said which country. Do you remember the country?
No.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So actually, this person, he was Peruvian. So someone who's Peruvian, where is he from?
Peruvian.
Peruvian is the nationality. What's the country of Peruvian?
Don't know.
Vietnam.
Okay, I'll take you to the map. Maybe it can give you a clue. Take a look at the map.
Ecuador.
Here, take a look. The nationality is Peruvian. Which country?
Peru.
Yes, correct. That's correct, yes. So Peru is the correct answer, right? Yeah. So Cho is the local Peruvian guide from Peru, but he ended up finishing the tour with him, right?
What?
I said that Cho, the local Peruvian guide, he started not from the beginning. He wanted to continue only 5 days, according to the recording. But I think he enjoyed it, and maybe Ed Stafford is a very energetic person. Also, maybe he's a charming, or let's say someone who has positive energy, and maybe Cho enjoyed the trip, and he said, "Why not? Let me finish it with him." Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's fun. Okay, 200,000. What's that number? What does the number refer to?
and mosquito bites.
Yeah, the ant and mosquito bites he got. Okay. Well, what about 612? What's that?
600 sting from
Wasps.
Wasps, yeah, and 12 sting from scorpions.
And 12 from scorpions. And he's still alive, right?
إيه. لما دعا الله يبارك.
Has got a very strong immune system now.
Yes, yeah. I agree. I think he's a Superman. And yes, I agree with the interviewer in the recording when he said, "I wouldn't last 68 hours, not 68 days."
Minutes.
Yeah, 68 minutes exactly.
Hours.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm that type. All right, so so if we want to use adjectives to describe here in part C, it says, which adjectives would you use to describe Ed?
Determined.
Determined is an excellent adjective, Brian. I would say determined too, right? Because his friend quit. He said, I can't do this. This is too much. But Ed is a determined person. He was like, nope, I'm going to continue until the end, right? So determined is a very good adjective. Can you think of other adjectives?
Adventurous.
Adventurous,
yeah,
is logical, yeah, probably adventurous, very adventurous.
Brave.
Brave, I think he's brave because you're in the middle of the Amazon jungle, right? The Amazon rainforest. So I don't think someone who's afraid can do that. So he must be brave too.
And also walking through the water. So
yeah, through the water, through the jungle.
You don't know what's coming up later.
Yes, just look at the photo here in the water. Look how deep the water is. and he's just walking through it with a bag like nothing is happening. Okay, so brave, yes, determined,
ambitious,
I think ambitious too, especially before the trip. You need someone very ambitious to want to do something like this, right?
Yes.
This means, what about
optimistic, I think.
Do you think optimistic?
Yeah, I'm confident, confident and optimistic.
Maybe we can say optimistic, maybe someone who doesn't give up hope, someone who thinks that they can do it. Okay, maybe. What about the word independent?
Yeah, he's independent. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that too. Yes, I would say that too, because I mean, he only did it with another person. It's not like a whole group, or he didn't use modern technology to support him. There's no first aid. There are no helicopters. No boats, no ships.
He used technology, I think.
Correct, but the technology was more to, I think, to blog and to just, excuse me, to answer fan mail and things like
communicate others.
It was for communication only, but he didn't use it, for example, like a helicopter to lift him, or maybe first aid from, I don't know, some kind of modern technology. It doesn't say. Yes, Noha?
I think he's also talented because he run marathon.
For marathons, so
you can say it's a talent more than.
Probably, yes, because I remember the first time I knew about marathons, I was shocked, because this happened to me when I was in Brazil, and I met some friends, and all of them, they liked running a lot. And so I asked them, how much training do you need to run a full marathon? They said in the beginning, you have to start with small kilometers, just 1 kilometer per day, then make it 3, make it 5. After maybe a year of training, you can do half a marathon, which is 21 kilometers. And to run half a marathon, you need almost a year or 2 years of daily training. So the full marathon needs even more training. And to run four marathons.
Yeah, 4 times.
Insane. This is too much. So this person is really, I agree, maybe talented. Also, maybe I think, in my opinion, the best adjective is determined. For me, I would choose determined. because this is something someone who's only determined can do. It's really hard work, and you really have to love what you're doing to do this. So he must love what he's doing. There's no other explanation. Okay, so let's move on from Ed Stafford, and let's talk a little bit about grammar here. So it says here, look at the verb forms in bold in these sentences, and then answer the questions. Okay, so Ibrahim, can you read the 3 questions for us here, please?
Number 5.
Yeah, number 5A, the first 3 sentences.
Which action happened first in each sentence?
No, I mean the examples.
Check
the examples first. Can you see the examples?
Yeah, I mean Cho joined.
Yes, that's right.
Cho joined the expedition after Luke had gone back to the UK. Okay. He also read messages that people had sent him. Ed calculated that he walked about 6,000 miles.
Can you read the last one again, please?
Ed calculated that he walked about 6,000 miles.
Is it he walked? Or is it he'd walked?
He'd walked.
Yeah. Do you know why I asked you to read it again? Because this is very, very important. This D makes all the difference, okay? So you cannot skip it in this example. All right, okay. So here, these questions are for you, Ibrahim, all right? So I'm going to bore you a little bit with the grammar. I know you don't enjoy it very much, but I think these are easy questions for you. Now, it says here, which action happened first in each sentence? So if you see the 3 sentences you just read, of course, all of them have 2 actions included, right? So I'm just going to help you a little bit, and I'm going to just circle the 2 actions in each sentence, okay? And maybe this can help a little bit. So you can clearly see every sentence has 2 actions, right?
Okay.
And both of these actions, of course, are in the past. So because the story is over, this is not a new story. This happened in 2010, right? So we agree that all these sentences and all the actions are already, they're done, they're finished. It's in 2010. It's over, right?
Yeah.
Now, but I want you to tell me in the first example, the one about Cho here, the Cho example, which action happened first?
Luke had gone back.
Right, you're right.
Then Cho joined.
Okay, so I'm going to write number 1 and 2 for each one you answer. So until now, you're right. This is the first action that happened in time. And then this is the second one that happened, right?
Yes.
What about the second example?
So read messages. People send the messages, then read them.
Right, again, that's correct. So people sent the messages, this is the first action, and then he read them, this is your second action, correct? Okay, yes. What about the last example?
He walked, then he calculated them.
Okay, your voice is not clear, I don't know, maybe you're too close to your mic. Can you say it again?
He walked 6,000 miles, then he calculated them.
Correct, you're right about that. All right, until now, everything is great. We're doing well. Okay, now the second question, it says, which action happened second? I think we also answered this automatically, right? So the number 2 parts, this is your second action. Okay, now number 3, which verbs are in the past simple, which ones are in the past perfect in each example? So we're going to write PS for past simple, PP for past perfect, okay? So first of all, let's just look for the past simple verbs. Where are the past simple verbs?
Joined.
Correct. So joined is a PS. Past simple, correct.
Read.
Oh, again, correct. Past simple.
And calculated.
Correct. Here we got our past simple verbs. Where are the past perfect verbs?
Had gone.
Correct. So this is our past perfect, PP for past perfect. Correct.
Had sent.
Correct. Again.
And the last one, he walked.
Of course, he'd walked. What do you think this is? This is short for? Short for what?
He did walk.
Look at the first two examples.
He had.
Right. There you are. That's correct. He had walked. Right. But did you see? Did you see how we sort of squeezed the had with the he?
Yeah.
He'd.
He'd.
Yeah. But if you don't want to do this, you can easily say he had walked. No problem. But maybe natives and common language, they squeeze them more often, I think. Okay, so we answered all the questions here. So all of these are correct. The 4 questions you just answered them correctly. Now, I want you to take a look at the rule here in part B. It says, choose the correct word in the rule. So we want to answer this or choose the right word in this rule. Can read the rule first, and then you tell me what to choose. Brahim.
When there is more than one action in the past, we often use the past perfect for the action that happened first or second.
From the examples, what do you think? The ones that you just covered.
First.
You're right. That's true, yes. So this means for the older action, right? The one that happened first, we use the past perfect, right? Just like had gone, this happened first. Had sent, this happened first. And had walked, this happened first in time. Okay? So now I think you're ready to do part C. Take a look at this, Brian, the part C. What does it say? Look at these sentences, these 2 sentences. What is the difference?
When I turned on the TV, the program started. When I turned on the TV, the program had started.
Okay. Now don't answer in a hurry. Think a little bit about this before you answer, and also check the examples at the top to inspire you a little bit.
For sentence number 1, when he turned on the TV, the program just started.
Okay, so which action is before the other? Which?
I think they're in the same time.
Exactly the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you. They're almost exactly the same time, but there is still something before the other, right?
Yeah, the program.
You think the program started before he switched on the TV, or the other way around? Okay, let's leave the first example. Take a look at the second example. Take a look at the second.
The second example, their program started, then he opened the TV.
Exactly. You're right about the second example. This means the program had already started. Maybe the program starts at 7 o'clock, and he switched on. He turned on the TV at 7:05, or 7 and 2 minutes, or 7 and 10 minutes, right? Okay, so let me put your answer on the second one, because this is correct. So the program had started. You're right about this.
So
the program had started. This is the first one. And turn on the TV. Then he turned on the TV. Okay. All right. Let's stick with the second example a little longer, okay, Brian? Now, if you want to change the second example, can you change it for me to make it without using had? Just make it a normal sentence in past simple, just without using had. Maybe arrange it or put one before the other. Play around a little bit with it, and to give the same meaning but without using had.
Okay. Let's start on the TV. The program started.
Okay. Go ahead. The program started.
When I turned on the TV.
Okay. The program started when I turned on the TV. Okay, that's okay. Or you can even use then instead of when, right? Remember, because in
the programs had started then I turned on the TV?
Yeah, but you don't have to use had in this example. You can just say the program started and then I turned on the TV. And if you said this, the program started and then I turned on the TV, it has exactly the same meaning as this sentence, number 2. When I turned on the TV, the program had started. Do you get the idea?
Yes.
So what about the first example? When I turned on the TV, the program started. Which one is before the other?
That he when he turned on the TV, it's the first.
Correct.
Action.
That's right. Turning on the TV was the first action. And the program started. This is your second action. But maybe, like you said in the beginning, maybe it's just a few seconds between switching on, and we don't know how long between them, but it might be very, very short. It might be almost the same time. Maybe you know that your show is at 7 o'clock, so you get home at 5 to 7, you quickly switch on the TV and wait a few seconds, the commercial is over, and you see your program, right? So it could be like this. All right, okay, very nice. So until now, we're doing fine. Let's see if there's an example. Here we have the rules, how to complete the rules. So it says here, fill in the gaps for the past perfect with hadn't, had, or the past participle. Now, all I need you to do, Ibrahim, is just take a look at one of the past perfect examples and see how we make them, okay? So they want you to use past perfect example. So I'm going to use the Luke had gone back to the UK, right? So can you use this to complete the form of the past perfect here in exercise D? So if we want to make a positive sentence, we use the subject, which is Luke.
Okay. Had.
Then we use had, you're right. Had or what else? Can we also use the contraction sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like in he'd walk.
Yeah, he'd. Yeah. Especially if you don't have a name, if you have he or she, so we can, or they, or any of those subject pronouns, we can just make a contraction with had. Okay. Then you use the past participle, and that's it, right?
Yes.
What about the negative?
I think the same.
The same, except
Maybe.
for?
Not sure. Hadn't, I think.
Right, that's it. We just say hadn't, right? So we only say hadn't. And after that, after hadn't, what's the form of the verb? Do we use the
past participle?
Past participle, correct. We use the past participle form. Okay, so far, what do you understand from the past perfect? What do you think the point is? Or for what do we use the past perfect according to your understanding, Ibrahim?
To talk about an action happened in the past.
Correct. Is it just one action or?
Repeat it.
Is it a repetitive action?
Yes.
I think if you want to summarize the past perfect in the easiest way possible, this is the easiest way to summarize it. This little sentence.
Actually, that happened.
This is the best way to understand the past perfect, Brian. Okay? So this means whenever you want to talk about two things in the past, it's always helpful for the listener if you use had and past participle for the older action. You get the idea? Just like the three examples here.
First.
Yeah, Luke had gone back. So if I want to use before and after to even make it even easier, I can say Luke went back before Cho joined. So here I'm using past simple, but I'm using before and after here, okay? And then it says, number 2, he also read messages that people sent him. So people sent him messages, then he read them. And the third one, I'm just giving you the meaning now. I'm paraphrasing. I'm doing it in the past simple now. I'm changing it on my own. You get the idea? Ed calculated that he walked. So I can say he walked 6,000 miles and then he calculated the distance.
Yes.
You get the idea? So here in the past perfect, it's very important to keep in mind the time order, which action happened before the other. This is all it's about. You get the idea? Okay, so before we do the summary, let me check. I think there's a nice exercise in the next page, on the next page. Maybe if we do the exercise, it might make a little more sense. All right, here it is. Let's do the exercise. I'm going to, let's see, let me zoom out a little bit first. Where's the zoom out? And let's give Noha the chance to do the first 2 examples, number 2 and 3. I want you to pay attention, Brahim, to Noha's answers, all right? Because you're going to finish the rest, but I want you to pay attention to how she answers number 2 and number 3. Let's read the question first, okay? The question says, put the verbs in brackets in the past perfect or past simple, right? So you can see the verbs, they're all in the infinitive in the brackets, okay? But you need to decide which one should be in the past simple and which one should be in the present perfect, past perfect, okay? And this, of course, depends on which action happened before the other. Do you get the idea, Brahim? Okay, Noha, can you please do number 2 and 3? Let's see number 2.
Okay. We didn't think of going to Brazil until we had heard about Ed Stafford adventure.
Okay, let me write that. So we didn't think, so you used the past simple.
Yeah.
In the first one, it's correct, your answer is correct, but I'm curious, what do you say instead of saying we had? Let's use the contraction. Do you think it's better?
Well,
We'd
heard. We'd heard.
All right, so this is correct, of course, but why did you choose it? Why did you do it like this? Why not the opposite?
Because because we thought of going after we heard about him.
So you're trying to say that you heard about this story for the first time,
Yeah.
like us now, and then you thought, why don't I do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that the thinking came after hearing this news about Ed.
Yes. Yes.
I completely agree, and that's right. That's exactly right. Okay, now, what about number 3? Can you do number 3, please?
I went to the shop to get some bread, but they had been sold out.
Okay.
It's passive here, but I think it's more suitable than you say, but they had sold out, because they the bread was finished before I reached the store.
You're right about that. I agree with you. Yes. The bread sold before the bread was sold before you came.
Yeah.
That part I agree on. I'm just thinking a little bit about whether to use the passive like you said or not, but Okay. Okay, your answer is correct. Just change it. Can you repeat it again? Your logic is right. At least that part you got. And the first
I went
one.
to the shop.
Okay, we can agree
get
that's
some bread.
correct. That's correct.
But they had been sold out.
Right. You changed it now. You said they had. In the beginning, you said they have, right?
No, I said had.
Sorry. So it's my problem. I didn't hear you right.
Yeah.
Correct. But they had sold out.
They had been sold out.
They had been sold out.
Yeah, I meant the bread here.
They had been sold out. Okay, let's write it. I don't know. I feel there's something weird about it, but it might be me, not you. I think that might be correct. They had been sold out.
Excuse me, I need just a minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Ibrahim, take a look at these examples. Number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you have your PDF with you?
Yes.
Okay, take a look at your PDF and try to check them there if you can. Or is it not an open?
It's open.
It's okay. If it's open, try to check the PDF because I'm going to switch to the teacher's board. I want to check this one. I'm not completely sure of it. And you can take some time to do number 4 to 8. Okay? You can do them from the PDF because the screen's going to go black in a bit. So you know what you need to do, right? You need to do from number 4 to number 8.
To 8.
All right, yeah. And use the same logic, use the same technique that Nuha was doing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hi.
Hi, welcome back.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I just told Ibrahim to check the answers on his PDF to do number 4 to 8 because I'm very, very curious and I want to see the answer of number 3.
Because you can't say, but they here, I felt that's referring to the bread, not to the man sailor.
You're right, yes. The bread, the they refers to the bread itself. But sometimes I think you can use the expression sold out without the passive. This is what I think.
So sold out, it's like a phrasal verb.
Like a phrasal verb, yes. Sold out. It means they had sold out, like this. But your answer is also logical. It makes sense. That's why I want to check the teacher's book for this. And I want to see if there's maybe an explanation or a tip, because I didn't prepare this lesson, to be honest. So there might be something I'm missing, and you might be right all along. So that's why I want to confirm this. But I think I don't have the teacher's book. And that's why I'm checking. No, I don't have it. This means I'll need to maybe check it, and then I'll tell you. But from what I think is you can't put been, and the reason I'm saying this is also related to the answer, to the option they have here in the brackets. You see, they have sell out. There's no verb to be here. So maybe there's no place to add verb to be. Do you get the idea?
Yeah.
So this is why, but I'm not completely sure about this. I'm just going to go with my gut feeling on this, and then we can confirm if indeed I'm right or you're right. But so let's write it. So, and like you said, sell out. Sold out, they sometimes use sold out. They sometimes even use it on signs. Sold out, so this is something that it's not here anymore. It's not present anymore. So let's rewrite the answers again. We didn't think of going to Brazil. Until we heard until we heard. Can we say until we heard? I didn't think of until we heard about. Maybe heard. Right? Because by the way, sometimes it's optional. The past perfect, the had. If the word order or the time order is so we heard about so sometimes the had is optional. Do you know about this, Noha?
What?
That sometimes the had is optional.
How it could be optional? It's a grammatical rule.
Good question. So they'd sold out. So what happened?
If I remove the had, it will be changed to past simple.
Simple, correct. Sometimes in some examples, you don't really need to use the past perfect if the time order is in, if the time events are in order. So for example, you can say, he left when I had arrived. He left when I had arrived. All right. So this example, of course, is with the present, with the past perfect. So he left when I had arrived.
Okay.
Okay. But if I want to say it in another way, so if I say it like this, when I arrived, where is it? He left when I had arrived. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Let me delete it. So let's try again. He left when I arrived. And this one. No, this one, it's not. Are these, do they have the same meaning or different meanings here?
Same meaning. When I arrived, he left. He left when I arrived.
No, the first one, heat.
He'd.
Yeah. What do you think?
No, it's not the same meaning. He left when I arrived. He left before you arrived.
Okay.
Actually. When I arrived, he left by. As I arrived, he left. The second one.
Okay, but what if I do
Same
it like
time. You can't be specific about time for the second sentence.
right? What about this one?
He left when I arrived. It's the same for the second one.
Okay. What if I say okay. I got it. There are two other ways. What about this one? Which one
It's
before
the
the
same
other?
with the first one.
So he left, then I arrived. You're trying to say that this is the same as he'd left when I arrived.
Yeah.
You're right about this. Okay. What about this one?
It's the same with them. I didn't arrive until he left.
So which one is before?
He left before.
Correct. You're right. What about this one? Sorry, I had something in mind.
I think I
lost
finished.
Okay, good. All right. Now this is my trick now. Oops, where's the book? Are you there?
Yeah.
All right. Now check this.
I didn't arrive until he had left.
Okay, so it's not clear. Let me move down the page a little bit so you can see it against the white background. Okay, like this one. What's the difference between these two?
I didn't arrive until he had left.
Okay. Yes.
So I didn't arrive until he left.
Correct. So left is before arrive, right?
Yeah.
In the time story.
Yeah.
Correct. Now my whole point is there's a little trick here. Now I'm going to put them, because this is where I made this long story just to arrive at these two examples. Okay. Now, do they have the same meaning or not the same meaning?
For the first line, I didn't arrive until exactly when he left, I arrived.
Okay.
I didn't arrive until he, until I had left. First one, he already left when I arrived.
Correct.
But in the second, I think I didn't arrive until he left. Exactly when he left, I arrived.
So you're trying to say the only difference between the two examples is the time between the two events.
Yeah.
Actually, this is exactly the situation that I was telling you about. That in this situation, the had becomes, they call it emphatic. Do you understand? It's there is no real need for it. So sometimes what they do is they put it in brackets. They just put it in brackets, the had. It becomes optional. And only in a situation like this. Do you know why? Because the word until made the time order so clear that the word had is optional. You want to put it, no problem, put it. To say that this happened before the other one, no problem, you can put it. But you don't really have to, because the word until sort of made it clear. And the same thing with then.
Like the word by.
By.
Yeah, by the time I arrived.
Exactly, by the time I arrived, yes. By the time I arrived, this time phrase, you get the idea. Yeah. So this is one of the examples. I'd like you to read a little more about this today if you can. Just Google it. Out of curiosity, just Google the past perfect. And I'm going to do the same thing because I want to, and I'm also going to download the teacher's book because I want to know if this example in number 2 is one of the examples where the had is sort of optional until we had heard about Ed. So it's obvious that they didn't do anything until hearing about it. So it's clear, it's clear that the thinking is after hearing the story, right?
Yeah.
So maybe in this situation, maybe the had is an optional had. This means our answer like this is not wrong. It's correct, by the way. We left the had. but in some situations you don't, maybe you don't need to.
Yeah.
All right, let's see your answers now. Brian, what do you have for number 1?
You mean 4?
Yes, number 4.
Okay. The meeting have finished by the time I had got there.
Okay. Now, which event? You have to always imagine a little bit. Imagine yourself as this person going to this meeting, right?
Okay.
In this example, number 4, do you think the person caught up or missed the meeting? Do you think the person missed the meeting or not?
Missed.
Correct. I agree. I think the person in this example, he missed the meeting.
So the meeting had finished by the time I got there.
This sounds a lot more logical than your first answer, right? So
Yeah.
the meeting had finished by the time I got there, right?
Yes.
And the meeting finished by the time I had got there. The meeting. No, I think we have to use had here. All right. What about number 5?
5. I invited Florence to dinner, but she had already arranged to do something else.
Right. It means her plans were before my invitation, right? My invitation was late. I asked her too late, right? She already had plans. This is the idea. I think this answer is also correct. And let's use the contraction to get used to it. But she'd already arranged. But she had already arranged to do something else. Okay, number 6.
6. When I got to the airport, I realized that I had forgotten my passport.
Okay, good. So I realized that
I think it's when I had got to the airport, because he realized that after he reached the airport.
The realization is after getting to the airport. Correct. You're right about this. But the forgetting is the verb. The key is the forgetting part, not the realization. The realization is the last action. Actually, this is the last event. So it's forget, get to the airport, then you realize you forgot.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So when I got to the airport, so I realized that I'd forgotten my airport. I think forgotten is with an E, forgotten, not with an O. Let me remove that. Okay, what about the next one, Brian?
Erica asked me to go to Spain with her, but I had already booked a holiday in Italy.
Right. So Erica asked me, but I'd already booked. You can see that already is used a lot with the past perfect. Okay, what about number 8?
Number 8. I had seen Trevor Robertson when I've been in town yesterday.
Keep in mind that there's a full stop here, and you have really in reality, you have 2 sentences.
Repeat?
Here, number 8 is divided. You have 2 sentences. There's a full stop after yesterday. So here I'm going to translate it in بالليبي.
لا فاهمها، أنا فهمتها.
تقولها لي بالليبي هيك، وغير حتى الأسامي، ديروا مع أحمد محمد مسعود أو أي
تلاقيت
حاجة.
مع أحمد، تلاقيت مع أحمد لما أمس كنت في المدينة. وش أنا مش أنا لي 10 سنين مش بحتاج.
Exactly. بالضبط، هي هذه الفكرة صح؟ So which is the oldest action, the oldest event here in the time?
oldest thing he hadn't seen him in 10 years, 14 years.
Okay, so this one you've got it right. Let's write this one. Okay.
I saw Trevor Robertson when I was in town yesterday.
Yes, why not? What's wrong with this? What do you think now?
Yeah, I agree with you. I saw Trevor Robertson when I was in town yesterday. I hadn't seen him for 10 years.
Right, I agree too. Yes, I think this is no problem. This is fine, Brian. Do you get the idea? All right, I think we have enough time to do the next exercise. I just need to tell the student, because we started a little late. I'll just tell my next class, I'll be maybe 10 minutes or so. But let me take you to our next exercise, because this one is even more interesting. The one here, the one about swimming, Ed swimming in the Amazon, because here it's a nice mixed, and we even have a listening to confirm our answers. Okay, so please take your time. Try to answer here. It says, read about Martin Strel. This is another guy. Sorry, I thought it was Ed. So this is another guy. It's not Ed. Okay, so we want to do here. We only want to do part B now because we're at the end of the lesson. So read about Martin Strel. Put the verbs in brackets in the past simple or past perfect. So it's the same exercise we were doing in number 7. It's the same thing. Okay. So please work on this. Take some time and let's do it, and then confirm from the listening. Okay.
فين هي He became the first أحيي. Tried to لياقة level etc. Stated. something locally. Before he traveled at wow. Oh, he arrived at Blum.
I'm going to give you a few hints. Remember when we talked about the difference between present perfect, not past perfect, present perfect, and past simple. We mentioned that the past simple, it's always specific by date. It's a point in time, right? So they always, if you see a date, it's usually past simple. And if you see ever, it's usually something with the perfect tense. These are just some time phrases that might help. Okay, let's start this. Let's give Nuha the first half. So Nuha can do until number 6, and you can do the last part, Ibrahim. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Martin Stroll, or Big River Man, as he is often called, is a long-distance swimmer from Slovenia. Martin taught himself to swim when he was six, and in 1997, he became the first man to swim from Africa to Europe by crossing the Mediterranean Sea. 7 people had already tried to complete this swim without success. In 2002, Stroll swam the length of the Mississippi, which took him 68 days. The year before that, he had broken the world non-stop record by swimming for 84 hours and 10 minutes without stopping.
All right. Okay. Okay,
But-
Ibrahim. Sorry, Nuha. Let's give Ibrahim a little chance.
Okay.
Okay. But he probably best known as the man who swam the length of the Amazon in 2007. Something nobody ever done before.
I think you
He
forgot
traveled,
something. Number 8, you forgot a word.
something nobody had ever done before.
Right.
He traveled 5,268 kilometers.
Okay.
And swam over 10 hours a day by the time he arrived at Belém,
Yeah.
Brazil. He was in the water for 66 days.
Okay, now number 11 and 12, they're all in one sentence, right?
Yes.
Which event happened before the other? The one that arrive in Belém or to be in
12
water?
before 11.
Yeah, 12 before 11, correct.
Yeah.
But
So he had
correct. He had
been in the water for 66 days.
This sounds better.
Now he runs an adventure swimming holiday company with his son in Slovenia.
Okay, so now all we need to do is confirm this from the listening track, which is in track 35. Let's do this. Track 35. Listening.
Man. Martin Strel, or Big River Man as he is often called, is a long-distance swimmer from Slovenia. Martin taught himself to swim when he was 6, and in 1997 he became the first man to swim from Africa to Europe by crossing the Mediterranean Sea. 7 people had already tried to complete this swim without success. In 2002, Strel swam the length of the Mississippi, which took him 68 days. The year before that, he'd broken the world non-stop record by swimming for 84 hours and 10 minutes without stopping. But he's probably best known as the man who swam the length of the Amazon in 2007, something nobody had ever done before. He travelled 5,268 kilometres and swam for over 10 hours a day. By the time he arrived at Belém in Brazil, he'd been in the water for 66 days. He now runs an adventure swimming holiday company with his son in Slovenia.
All right. So all of these were correct, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here today we discussed the past simple. We have the issue of the optional had, and we also have the issue of sellout, which I think we need to check. But otherwise, I think the idea is clear, at least for you now. I think it's not your first time with the past simple, past perfect. Ibrahim, do you get the idea with the past perfect, how it works?
Yes.
It's like the older cousin of the past simple, that's all. Okay? And if you want to get rid of it, you can get rid of it. All you need to do is just rephrase the sentence. Put the older one second, that's all. So you can say, I arrived and then he left, right? So we understand that arrived is before left. Do you get the idea?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, so that's all for today. Thank you for your time. And next lesson, we will talk a little bit about guessing from context. This is important, I think, for IELTS. So it'll be mostly about reading. You can see lots of nice texts. This is for our next lesson, hopefully. All right, so have a good day, and I'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
You too.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bye-bye. Alaikum salam.
Bye-bye.
Bye.